Europeo y la Comisión Europea, que van a estar aquí en Granada, pues todo el trabajo que hemos desarrollado, la paciencia y la hospitalidad del pueblo granadino y lógicamente mi felicidad porque en fin, podamos desarrollar toda esta cumbre, estas dos cumbres, en un lugar tan emblemático como este. Si me permiten el comentario, pues en fin, la Alhambra en árabe significa la roja, y la roja es efectivamente lo que va a vestir la selección española de fútbol pues en ese color en el Mundial 2030 aquí también en España cuando se celebre. Y hacerlo además en Granada, donde hace muy pocas fechas pues también la selección española de fútbol tuvo ocasión de jugar un partido de fútbol desde hace ya muchos años, pues me parece que en fin, que todo al final pues encaja y nos hace proyectar una imagen de España y que realmente yo creo que es muy positiva, ¿no? Es de valores, de deporte, de convivencia, es un mundial al final donde dos continentes, el europeo y el africano, se encuentran y donde al final proyectamos pues lo que realmente es nuestra sociedad, nuestro país. Un país amable, un país hospitalario, un país, en fin, abierto, con talante, respetuoso, que apuesta por la convivencia y por todo aquello que ahora mismo pues tenemos que proyectar, porque el mundo efectivamente está viviendo un momento muy complicado, muy complejo y particularmente un país con el que nos sentimos muy próximos, aunque estemos a 4.000 kilómetros de distancia, como es Ucrania.
¿Qué va a trasladar al presidente Zelensky en ese encuentro sobre la adhesión de Ucrania a la Unión Europea? También si Puigdemont está marcando los tiempos de la
Bueno, primero, sobre la primera de las cuestiones, el presidente Zelensky lo hace bien. Nada más empezar esta presidencia española rotatoria del Consejo de la Unión Europea de aquí. Estuve con el presidente Zelensky, le trasladé lógicamente el compromiso de España como presidencia rotatoria del Consejo Europeo, nuestra voluntad de seguir dando pasos para que efectivamente se abran ya formalmente esas conversaciones. Nuestra posición es clara, es firme, creo que además todos los países de la Unión estamos digamos en la misma línea y lo que tenemos que hacer es esperar ahora mismo a la institución que tiene que decir si los pasos que lógicamente están establecidos en los tratados han sido cumplidos y las reformas realizadas por parte del Gobierno. Evidentemente creo que la lógica y la voluntad política de todos los países es la que he apuntado en esta etapa. Y en segundo lugar, en relación con la cuestión que usted me ha dicho, a ver, aquí hay dos dinámicas que me parece importante subrayar. La primera es, hemos perdido 5 semanas con una investidura que todo el mundo, hasta incluso el propio candidato, sabía que iba a ser fallida. Y ahora, bueno, pues evidentemente la sociedad española, y yo el primero, lo que queremos es que haya un gobierno con plenas funciones, y que no estemos en funciones como llevamos desde las elecciones del pasado 23 de junio. Por tanto, hay una urgencia en que haya un gobierno en funciones, y en segundo lugar, bueno, las negociaciones son complejas, que hay un arco parlamentario con distintas, intereses, y tenemos entre todos que encontrar ese espacio de encuentro para arrancar esta legislatura y poder formar una mayoría parlamentaria que no solamente nos dé una investidura, sino también la legislatura, ¿no? Así que, a ver, yo lo dije el otro día en mi comparecencia en el Palacio de la Moncloa, mi objetivo es el que durante estos próximos 4 años sigamos avanzando para la mayoría social de nuestro país en derechos y en libertades, en progreso. En segundo lugar, seguir cultivando y abonando ese reencuentro, esa convivencia entre los pueblos de España y finalmente el marco es la Constitución. Por tanto, diálogo es el método, el objetivo es el progreso y la convivencia y el marco es la Constitución. Y es ahí donde nos vamos a mover, porque aquí no soy un presidente de gobierno nuevo, llevo ya 5 años y creo que he hecho durante estos últimos 5 años en circunstancias extraordinariamente complejas como las que hemos vivido y las que afortunadamente hemos superado con nuestra pandemia de COVID-19.
¿Confía en que el apartado encaje en la Constitución?
Sí, yo sé que esa es la pregunta que se hace, incluso me dicen por qué no se refiere a ella directamente. Estamos negociando con los distintos parlamentarios. Creo que, lo dije además en mi anterior comparecencia, a ver, cuando el Gobierno de España aprobó los indultos, yo tenía una confianza en que contribuyera a la estabilidad, a la normalización de la política en Cataluña. Hoy tengo la certeza de que fue una buena decisión y que por tanto obedeció a un interés general, que es el interés al que debemos, digamos, de alguna manera velar, no solamente aquellos que tenemos el honor de liderar un país desde el Poder Ejecutivo, sino también todas las fuerzas parlamentarias. Por tanto, estamos negociando y cuando tengamos una posición concreta al respecto, después de reunirnos con todos los grupos parlamentarios, fijaremos la posición del Partido Socialista Obrero Español. En este caso, como le hablo, lógicamente, como candidato del Partido Socialista Obrero Español, que es el destino. Y en segundo lugar, ¿cuál era la otra pregunta? De acuerdo de migración. Hombre, yo creo que es un acuerdo en el que todos al final hemos tenido que ceder, pero creo que es un acuerdo que sienta las bases para que ya definitivamente, junto con el Parlamento Europeo, logremos ese pacto de migración y asilo. Y España es un país, digamos, muy interesante en que haya un pacto de migración y asilo, porque estamos hablando de dos ejes fundamentales, el primero es de la solidaridad y el segundo es de la responsabilidad. La responsabilidad significa controlar las fronteras, controlar, digamos, y luchar contra la migración irregular y propiciar la migración regular, que se nos ha estado siempre el Gobierno de España. Pero en segundo lugar, la solidaridad. Lo que no puede ser es que en determinadas zonas de nuestro país, pienso por ejemplo en el sur de España, que también en las Islas Canarias, con las Islas Baleares, se hagan frente y asuman todo ese fenómeno de migración irregular sin la solidaridad de todos los países europeos. Yo creo que también ahí hemos encontrado un punto de equilibrio que es muy interés para España. Venga, la última pregunta. Muy fuerte.
What will your message and the message of the other leaders be to President Zelensky of Ukraine, in particular given the concerns that President Biden has expressed about the infighting in Congress holding up the entry? Is there anything more that you can do, that the European leaders can do to help?
Well, actually, solidarity, unity, and of course the support of not only the European governments but also our societies. I think that all the Europeans are backing Volodymyr Zelensky and his country, and of course we are ready to support and to back, until the end of this war, our friends in Ukraine. And I think that we have, of course, debate. We need to deliver within the European Union. I'm thinking nowadays about the reform of the MFF, which is the financial framework to channel all the financial resources in order to help and to sustain Ukraine for the next years. But we're very happy to host this summit, and of course we're very proud, and it is an honor to have Volodymyr Zelensky with us here in Granada. I think that Granada is today the capital of Europe and also the capital of peace. At the end of the day, this city represents a lot of things. In my opinion, the most important one, the respect to different cultures, civilization, and also this is the message that we want to send to the rest of the world. That Europe is a peace project, and this is what we are going to do today and tomorrow here in Granada. Muchísimas gracias. Mañana vamos a tener otra rueda de prensa, ayer hice otra. De verdad, vamos a disfrutar de un día muy importante, de mañana también. En fin, Granada yo creo que es un lugar absolutamente idóneo por todo lo que representa en términos no solamente políticos, sino históricos, de lo que queremos proyectar desde España, que es y cómo sentimos Europa. Y mañana tendré ocasión de hacer una rueda de prensa y responderle a todas estas preguntas y muchas más. En fin, disfrútenlo, porque creo que hoy además el tiempo nos acompaña. Gracias.
Bien, ¿me hago unos recursitos?
Sí, espera, dame... Aguanta...
Aucune traduction. Ils s'en foutent. Ils s'en foutent.
La verdad no sé qué audio está entrando.
Sauf le chef laisse la liaison.
Y no sé si está... No.
Renato está editando del directo esto, que lo ha pedido Londres.
¿Hacemos prueba? ¿Del step 2? ¿Qué tal le tenías de luz? Pero es que al final no me he podido mover de aquí.
que, hostia, he probado a luces, a sombras, he hecho un poco de todo, porque luego ya veremos exactamente. Sí, hacer hecho un poco de todo. Los trípodes, ya no me podemos. Ha hecho un poco de todo. Con los españoles aquí. Dime.
Would you claim here in Granada for speeding up the process of the Ukrainian access?
I think first of all the main challenge is what we all of us the main challenge is what we have, that is to save unity in Europe. And I'm speaking not only about the countries in EU, it's in all the Europe. I think that is the biggest challenge what we'll have, because Russia will attack by information, disinformation, by fakes, and etc. And that is the first thing. The second, so important for Ukraine to have defending shield for the winter, because in winter we will have many attacks by different kinds of Russian missiles, including Iranian drones and etc. Sorry.
Are you worried because the news from the States, from the United States and the Congress, are you worried?
You know, I think that in Ukraine we finished worry the first days of full-scale war. I think it's too late for us to worry. I think we have to work on it. And with the United States, I've been in Washington this year, and I had a meeting with President Biden, and I had heard his 100% support in White House, and also support by bipartisan support in Congress. I think it's important. Of course, difficult election period for the United States. Different voices. Some of the voices are very strange. About this also we will speak about this today, and thank you for the invitation. Thank you.
Perdona.
Non, c'est pas important pour moi.
Non? D'accord, vous l'avez dit, d'accord. Soyez le bienvenu.
Très bien.
Ministro, buenos días. Solo que tengo que indicar.
People have to leave their countries in a couple of days. Can you imagine? Commissioner Lenarchi will be there. The Commission will engage resources to support the big flow of refugees. But apart from taking care of the refugees, we have to deal with the political problem.
Will you have the talks with President Vučić?
You've condemned the military action, but will the European Union take any action against Azerbaijan on sanctions or other measures?
Member states are discussing that. They know that until they convene, they haven't agreed on any concrete actions against Azerbaijan, but they will continue doing that depending on the evolution of events.
Mr. Hiram, you will have a meeting with Vučić and Osmani, with President Serbia. You said you hope you will have a meeting. So that means it's not scheduled yet. You're not sure if you can ease the tensions.
The meetings are done to ease the tension. President Osmani will be here, and President Vučić also. In Chisinau, we sit together, we discuss about it, and today we will do the same thing, but the situation is much worse today than the Chisinau time.
Mr. Hiram, we are waiting for enlargement package, as we are from Georgia. We would like to ask you about Georgia, please.
Enlargement will be in the
No, what is your expectations and main message before publishing enlargement package?
We have to wait for the Commission assessment on the package. I cannot anticipate what the Commission is going to say. But you know, I was in Georgia some days ago, and I think my visit was good to push for the development of a stronger accession process. I am optimistic. I cannot tell you what the assessment will be.
What's an outcome of this summit? You would say it's a success, because if it can't solve any of the big crises, then why need this format?
Well, this format is a way of enlarging the scope we cannot talk just among the European Union member states, because the world is much bigger, much wider. And in our neighborhood there are 10 candidates, and we have to meet with them and engage with them. And there are others who are still not candidates and also have to be taken into account. This is the whole recipe of the European political community. We are not members of the Union, but we are part of a political community. United Kingdom will be here also. Thank you. Sobre el acuerdo de migración, es una buena noticia que se hayan llegado ya a acuerdos en el seno del Consejo de Ministros. Ahora se trata de que estos acuerdos los acepte, los incorpore a la acción que hay que tomar en el Consejo Europeo. Sé que hay todavía problemas por parte de algunos países, pero este es un momento decisivo para que Europa adopte acuerdos operativos para hacer frente a los flujos de migración cada vez mayores que pesan sobre el continente y en particular sobre algunos países. Este va a ser uno de los grandes temas, cómo prepararnos para la ampliación y cómo hacer frente a los movimientos migratorios. Y sobre las cuestiones de interés nacional, me va usted a permitir que considere que este no es el momento ni el lugar para entrar en ellos. Tiempo va a haber. Gracias. Es una pena que Azerbaiyán no esté aquí. Y es una pena que Turquía, que es el principal país que apoya a Azerbaiyán, tampoco esté aquí. Por lo tanto, no vamos a poder hablar aquí de algo tan grave como el hecho de que más de 100.000 personas hayan tenido que abandonar a prisa y corriendo sus casas huyendo de un acto de fuerza militar. Condenamos los actos de fuerza militar para resolver los conflictos. Ayudamos a estos refugiados y espero que en Bruselas puedan haber reuniones entre Armenia y Azerbaiyán, sobre todo para evitar que el conflicto vaya más y para estabilizar políticamente Armenia. Muchas gracias. Hablaremos de estos temas más tarde, cuando el momento llegue. Gracias. Just at the moment when we knew that the US Congress had not included the support to Ukraine on the big deal about the budget in order to avoid the shutdown. That was certainly not expected, and it's certainly not a good news. But I hope it's not going to be a definite position of the US. Ukraine needs the support of the European Union, which is sure they will have it, and we will increase it, but also the support of the US. My hope, the hope of the Ukrainians, and I think that everybody that doesn't want Putin winning this war, is to look for the ways for the US to retake this issue and continue supporting Ukraine.
But can Europe fill the gap left by the US?
Europe what?
Can Europe fill the gap left by the US?
Well, certainly Europe cannot replace the US. Europe is increasing its support. In the table there are proposals for 50 billion euros for the civilian and economic side and 20 billion for the military side. And we did that before waiting for the US to take decisions. Certainly we do more, but the US is something imprescindible for the support of Ukraine.
How does the
Uns mal dann den formellen, ja, vielleicht Treffen, formelleren Treffen auch, ja, auch mal Schritte mal zu machen, wo auch mal sehen, wo die Schweiz etwas helfen kann.
Letztes Mal haben Sie Präsident Zelensky getroffen. Wie wichtig ist das Thema Ukraine aus Ihrer Sicht?
Ja, es ist zentral. Es bleibt absolut zentral, nicht nur für die Schweiz, für den ganzen Kontinent, aber Sie haben vielleicht es gesehen, letzte Woche hat die Schweiz auch noch einen Schritt gemacht mit 100 Millionen für die Entminung. Das ist auch ein wichtiger Schritt und es zeigt einmal mehr, dass wir sehr solidarisch sind mit Ukraine. Aber jetzt muss man auch sehen, es dauert diesen Krieg seit mehr als 18 Monate und es ist wirklich außerordentlich wichtig, dass man auch für die nächsten Monate mal sieht, wie es mal sich weiterentwickelt. Daher auch alle meine Kontakte auch auf anderen Kontinenten, in Afrika, in Südamerika, weil es darf nicht sein, dass es wird als kontinentale Angelegenheit gesehen. Nein, es ist eine Weltangelegenheit, es betrifft wirklich alle.
Frage zu Bergkarabach. Was ist die Haltung der Schweiz und wieso beurteilen wir das nicht so wie das andere Länder?
Ja, wissen Sie, die Haltung der Schweiz ist da für eine Zeit lang. Sind wir immer wieder in Kontakt gewesen mit unterschiedlichen Parteien. Sie kennen auch die Rolle der Schweiz, die Möglichkeiten, die wir haben können, auch etwas anzubieten in Situationen von Konflikten. Und ich glaube, heute wird es auch ein interessanter Moment sein, mal informell ein bisschen zu hören, auch wie andere reagieren dazu.
Ein Thema ist auch der Konflikt zwischen Kosovo und Serbien. Wie sehen Sie die aktuelle Situation und was kann die Schweiz da zur Lösung beitragen?
Ja, wissen Sie, ich habe Präsident Vučić in New York kurz getroffen. Ich habe Premierminister Kurti in Bern gesehen. Es ist klar für uns, für die Schweiz ist von eine zentrale Angelegenheit, eine friedliche und stabile Situation in der Balkan zu haben. Es ist wirklich unser Interesse auch direkt. Wir haben eine sehr starke Verflechtung zwischen Bevölkerungen. Es gibt auch sehr viele Kontakte und ich glaube, die Signale sind gesetzt. Es war schon das letzte Mal in Chisinau ein zentraler Punkt, diese Diskussion damals. Und ich glaube, die Schweiz ist wirklich da, um zu helfen, wirklich eine stabile Situation zu haben.
Hat die Schweiz eine Mittelrolle eingenommen?
Ja, ich habe einfach in diese Kontakte immer wieder mal betont, was für uns wichtig ist, diese stabile Situation, dass es da wirklich auch gesprochen miteinander, es passiert auch und dass man versucht, auch eine Situation, eine Lösung zu finden, vor allem im Nordkosovo, für eine gute Integration von alle, eine gute Situation für alle die Leute, die auf dem Terrain einfach leben. Aber muss man auch sehen, die ganze Region hat und kennt eine schwierige Situation seit langem, das ist nichts Neues, aber wir müssen auch dabei sein, wir sind auch dabei, um diese Lösungen und stabile Situation zu unterstützen.
Es gibt mehrere europäische Länder, die verantwortlich bei Serbien sind und auch dort Grenzen fordern.
Ja, es liegt nicht an mir, jetzt mal Punkte zu verteilen und zu sagen, wer wie zu denken hat. Ich glaube, wir müssen das reservieren und auch mal zusammen diskutieren mit den direkten Betroffenen und nicht hier. Ich danke für das Verständnis dafür. Aber wir müssen auch einfach mal Schritte machen. Es gibt die Europäische Union, die sich auch sehr stark mal engagiert hat. Das war auch ein Thema in Chisinau. Ich freue mich auch sehr, heute zu sehen, was es wird geben als Diskussion.
Und wie werden Sie heute bilaterale Gespräche?
Ich habe einige bilaterale Gespräche, die vorbereitet sind. Die Liste habe ich nicht im Kopf. Es gibt sehr viele, aber vor allem die CPE, diese Treffen hier, die sind so wichtig für die informellen Treffen. Und ich bin sicher, ich werde mit beinahe allen mal in Kontakt treten können. Ich kenne auch allen und diese Momente helfen sehr, diese auch menschliche Kontakte zu pflegen.
Letztes Jahr findet der Kirchen in Großbritannien statt. Sie haben jetzt gesagt, mehrmals, dass diese Veranstaltung wichtig ist.
Ja.
Wird die Schweiz stattfinden?
Ja, das werden wir noch sehen. Es wäre sicher eine gute Gelegenheit, mal für die Schweiz es zu organisieren. Aber wann ist für mich zu früh zu sagen. Danke, schönen Tag. Thank you.
The third time that at the core of our discussion is and Chisinau,
And actually it is the third time that at the core of our discussion is our support for Ukraine. And this symbolizes also the strong support that the European political community has for Ukraine. I very much welcome that President Zelensky is going to join us here. On Monday, the 27 ministers for foreign affairs and the HRVP were in Kiev to support Ukraine. So there's a strong message to Putin from Dublin to Chisinau that we do not tolerate aggression against a sovereign state. One of the topics here will also be energy. And indeed, we had a massive energy crisis due to the blackmail of Russia with fossil fuels. We've mastered this crisis. The prices have gone down drastically. And most importantly, our storages are filled, and we have created a joint platform to buy gas together. This is a big success, and the success is seen can be seen because of the fact that not only the 27 member states have joined this platform for energy, but also other members of the European political community like Norway, Ukraine, Moldova or Serbia. We have been able to get rid of the Russian dependency on fossil fuels. We have massively invested in renewables, and indeed last year, for the very first time, the European Union was able to produce more electricity from renewables, wind and sun, than from gas. And of course, Armenia will play a role today in the discussions too. I will meet the Prime Minister of Armenia in a bilateral here. We strongly support Armenia and support it in its humanitarian needs. We have already allocated 5.2 million euros. I will tell the Prime Minister today that I'm happy that we double this amount to 10.4 million euros and that we are providing 15 million euros of direct budget support under the country's annual program. And we will discuss what else we can do to support Armenia in this difficult situation.
President, on Armenia and Azerbaijan, you've talked about what you can do for Armenia, but is there any action that the European Union will take against Azerbaijan for a military operation that has triggered the exodus of 100,000 ethnic Armenians?
We have immediately, end of September, issued a very strong statement of condemnation of the military operation of Azerbaijan in Nagorno-Karabakh and called strongly on a resuming of dialogue and a peaceful solution. This is what we are working on, and important for us is to support Armenia. So we have been, it was very important that President Biden informed us at the beginning of this week what the support for Ukraine is concerned from the side of the United States. Here in the European Union, we're working on a package of 50 billion euros for Ukraine for the years 24 to 27. This is very important because Ukraine needs predictability and reliability in the direct budget support. As far as I oversee the situation in the United States, I'm very confident of support for Ukraine from the United States. What the United States is working on is the timing.
Are there any developments regarding Southern Gas Corridor and Turkey Gas Hub?
Are you afraid that the U.S. support to Ukraine could be reduced in the near future?
As I said,
Buongiorno, Presidente. Buongiorno Presidenta, you're going to talk to the press? Yes? Okay. Benvenuto.
Like, as I said, like more a team building.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Am I spokesperson?
You're going to talk to the press, right?
Yes, I'm afraid so. Thank you. Good morning. Well, I think it is good that we meet today, that we have this format with the European political community, because so many issues are bigger than just the borders of the European Union. Important topics. I think it's good that we meet here with the kids.
What about Serbia and Kosovo? This seems to escalate further.
Mi hanno chiesto il piano Mattei, spiegare.
Yeah, the other point.
Y luego para
Dice que hay otros puntos. Dice explicarle qué punto puede ir. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, it's nice to see you in such a sunny environment. Today we have the European Political Community meeting again, so it's a good platform to talk to each other. It's very sad that some European countries are not coming. We heard that Erdogan is not coming and Azerbaijan is not participating because this is the platform where we all should talk to each other. So I'm participating in the panel or roundtable on multilateralism and security. Russia does not believe in multilateralism, so we have to do everything to prove that we are united and we talk to each other and we make multilateralism work. We had the UN General Assembly and the discussions how the UN should function and how the UN Charter should really function so that we would have peace in the world. So hopefully we have good discussions today.
Are you afraid that the US support for Ukraine will be shrinking in the near future?
No, not directly. I mean, we have the discussions everywhere, and US has committed their support to Ukraine, as other countries in Europe as well. And I think Russia wants us to be tired, and we shouldn't show them that we are, because we are not. We have to help Ukraine as long as it takes. We have to endure the war as they are enduring the war. And we have to do everything to help Ukraine. Yes, these are very worrying tendencies that we have in Europe, and therefore these platforms like today could be good places to talk to each other. But unfortunately, I don't think that today we're going to see any positive results. But talking to each other in Europe is definitely bringing the tensions down. I didn't hear your question.
EU stepped in instead of the US just stopped way across
Europe actually is helping Ukraine a lot, and we have to do more. And everybody who has more in their stocks should give more. Russia is thinking that they will endure pain much longer, but we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't give them that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're going to discuss that tomorrow, and this is definitely a worrying tendency. I mean, when we talk about the multilateralism, how it should work, and how, you shouldn't take big processes into hostage. So what kind of tools are there, really, in order to listen to everybody, but not give them the veto rights in the way that you can block everything. But we'll see. We'll discuss this. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yes, I'm very worried about this device. You don't understand that like 55 degrees in October is normal. It's something.
OSCE since like you are chair of OSCE this year, because in fact like OSCE shows for they have regress with participation of Russia and Belarus, and they do not respect each other.
Well, we are chairing the OSCE organization in the most difficult year, as you are all aware. And our chairmanship is doing everything that the organization continues to be a valid and the most important security organization within Europe. We are aware, and you are aware, that there are challenges since inside the organization are as well in Russia and Belarus. and we are in constant communication in order to drive the processes towards a peaceful Europe. But in order to have a peaceful Europe, then the first thing what is needed is the stop of the war in Ukraine, and Ukraine to preserve its territorial integrity and to fulfill its goals of the people of Ukraine to have a democratic and sovereign country as they are. So we will continue until the end of our chairmanship to be a country which will take all the important opinions into consideration and to organize a successful summit by the end of the year. We are in preparations, and at this moment I cannot give you all the details, but the ministerial meeting is under preparation for December in Skopje, the capital of North Macedonia. Thank you. Па најпрвин, јас денес се представувам Северна Македонија, ново исклучително важен состанок на Европската политичка заедница. Тука се практично представници на сите земји од Европа, без Русија и Белорусија. Една од главните теми која што е од најголемо значење за нас е и проширувањето на Европската Унија. Вие знаете дека после долго време на агендата на Европската Унија е проширувањето. Ќе разговараме нормално и на теми кои што се однесуваат и на дигитализацијата и на воведувањето на вештачката интелигенција, се со цел да се подобрат услугите за граѓаните, и тоа ќе биде една од работните средби на кои што јас ќе учествувам заедно со премиерите на Италија, на Франција, на Обединетото кралство и на низа други, на представникот на Европскиот парламент, на Европската комисија. Исто така значено е што утре ќе биде одржан и неформален состанок на Европскиот совет, на кој што ќе се разговара толкму на прашања кои што се значени за нас, а тоа е пред се мирот и безбедноста во Европа, поддршката на Украина, но и проширувањето на Европската Унија. Како што најави председателот на Европскиот совет Шарл Мишел пред повеќе од еден месец, веќе во рамки на Европската Унија се води дебата во однос на подготовката на Европската Унија за прием на нови членки од една страна и од друга страна процесите за пристапување кои што самите земји членки ги имаат со Европската Унија. Ние мислам дека се наоѓаме во одлична позиција со оглед на тоа дека минатата година ги отпочнавме преговорите со Европската Унија. Од друга страна, Европската Унија има стратешки интерес и веќе отворен процес за свое прилагодување, кој што е паралелен процес во однос на тоа дека ќе треба да функционира во иднина со земји кои што имаат поголем број од сегашниот, што значи дека ќе постои динамика и на страната на земјите на кандидати за членство. Пред се тука мислам на земјите од Западен Балкан, вклучително и на Северна Македонија, меѓутоа и динамика внатре во Европската Унија во однос на прилагодување на функционирањето со повеќе земји членки. Веќе е јасно на сите дека Германија и Франција имаат изработено работен документ кој што се однесува на кои се тие стратешки промени кои што треба да се направат. Јас тоа не можам да го коментирам во моментот, бидејќи се работи за работен документ кој што не е финален, и затоа ќе оставам тие да го комуницираат, иако го имам видено, и сметам дека тоа што стои како предлог во самиот работен документ е позитивно за нашата држава и за земјите од регионот. Се надевам на успешни состаноци, ќе имам и билатерална средба со премиерот на Холандија, со премиерот на Ирска и со подпредседателот на Европската комисија. Ви благодарам и ви посакувам и на вас успешен работен ден.
Good morning, everyone. This is again an important one. This is the third edition of this European Political Community, and it shows the relevance of the meeting because this is an occasion to exchange views, also in an informal way. And there are many challenges for the European continent. Certainly the consequences of the war launched by Russia against Ukraine, important to reaffirm our solidarity with the Ukrainians. The energy sector is extremely important. That's why on the EU side we've decided to double our efforts for the renewable energy. We have decided to triple the efforts for the energy efficiency, and we are also working very hard, and such a platform can help to reduce the conflicts, to prevent the conflicts when possible, to reduce the conflicts and to address the difficulties we face. I am confident that again this meeting under the Spanish presidency will be the occasion to bring the European continent closer to common goals, stability, prosperity, security. It should be our common priorities. Cette réunion est une réunion importante parce que ça va être l'occasion pour beaucoup de leaders de se rencontrer, de discuter et de progresser ensemble sur des sujets qui concernent l'intérêt commun pour l'avenir du continent européen, les questions d'énergie, les questions liées à la connectivité et puis certainement les conséquences de la guerre de la Russie contre l'Ukraine seront à l'ordre du jour. Et puis je pense que cette réunion est aussi l'occasion de multiples rencontres informelles pour tenter de prévenir un certain nombre de conflits, un certain nombre de tensions, de tenter d'apporter un certain nombre d'apaisements et de solutions. Thank you. Yes, please. We had a few days ago a very important phone call with the President, Joe Biden, a very important moment because he reassured us and we feel his personal leadership, his personal commitment to make sure that the United States will support Ukraine in the long run, will help Ukraine in the long run, and we work very closely together. And you know that on the EU side we have already mobilized 82 billion euros for Ukraine, to assist Ukraine, and you know that we are working hard to decide an additional package. There is a proposal on the table with 50 billion euros for the Ukraine facility and with 20 billion euros for the European Peace Facility for more military equipment for Ukraine. This is very tangible, very concrete, and it's our duty to support Ukraine. First point, we are shocked by this decision taken by Azerbaijan to use the military force. This is one first element. Second point, I had a phone call 2 days ago with the president of Azerbaijan, and he made very clear that they do not have territorial claim on Armenia. It should be set in a very vocal way, I think, to make sure that there is the mutual recognition for the territorial integrity. This is my second point. And point three, we will help Armenia to face the consequences of this military operation started by Azerbaijan. There are a lot of refugees in Armenia, and we need to support with humanitarian assistance on the one hand, but we also need to take into account the wish in Armenia to strengthen the ties between Armenia and the European Union, and I am in favor of this rapprochement between Armenia and the European Union. And I want to be clear, we made a promise a few years ago to Armenia in terms of investment package with more than 2 billion euros promised to Armenia. We must deliver. We cannot procrastinate. We must deliver. Armenia needs our support. Sorry?
Neither Turkey nor Azerbaijan are here. I mean, European diplomacy is working.
This is extremely important not to give up, never to give up. And I believe that the diplomatical efforts are needed even when there are difficulties, even when there are setbacks. And you know that we'll have the occasion today to meet together with President Macron, with President Scholz and with Prime Minister Pashinyan. I take note. There is a decision taken by President Aliyev not to attend the meeting. I take note, but we do not give up, and we are absolutely convinced that this is our interest within the EU to have a stable and prosperous Caucasus. And you know, before we start at the EU level the mediation, we were not very active and present in that region. With this EU mediation effort, it means that we are defending our interests, we are promoting our values in that region. It's what we need to do. The European Union is a fundamental political project. We need to protect and to defend the interests of our citizens, and the interests of our citizens, this is very clear, this is a stable and prosperous neighborhood, including in the South Caucasus. This is his decision, and we have tried to work to prepare a meeting with President Aliyev and with Prime Minister Pashinyan. We have proposed some ideas to make sure that we can bring more stability, more serenity, that we can address the humanitarian consequences of the situation. This is his decision, and I do not intend to comment publicly his decision. I will have the occasion to tell to him directly what is my feeling about the decision not to come.
Mr. President, why Europe stayed silent for almost 30 years and 1 million displaced Azovian people from Karabakh and Armenia, and is actively speaking now on behalf of Armenia? Do you think Europe can be a neutral mediator after that?
Answer number one, yes, the EU is a neutral mediator because the EU has no hidden agenda. Our agenda is very clear. This is prosperity, stability, security, and predictability, point one. And point two, we made a lot of progress in the past with the mediation. When we started the mediation about 3 years ago, we made some concrete and tangible result with the exchange of prisoners, with some progress in terms of exchange of mining maps, in terms of discussions that have started for the border delimitation, with the launch of 2 border commissions that are supposed to work together. We made progress on the connectivity by discussing the details of the modalities and the principles of sovereignty and jurisdiction and reciprocity that should be guaranteed in terms of efforts for improving the connectivity in the region. But we are very sincere, we are very honest, we understand that more diplomatic efforts are needed. This is what we will do today with the Prime Minister of Armenia. Thank you, just a pleasure to meet you this morning. Thank you. Bye.
What do you think you have? I saw that.
Good morning. One particular point? Thank you very much. Thank you. How do you get out of the current crisis? Tell us.
We'll get it out.
Okay. Good morning, Prime Minister. How are you? You want something first? Someone is accompanying you or? Someone from your team? You want something from your team? Okay, good. Welcome. Gracias.
¿Quién es Oscar? ¿Quién es? Suecia. Suecia.
Presidente, ¿no? Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Back, could it involve Ireland taking a quota of refugees from migrants from other countries?
Yeah, we don't really have clarity on it at the moment. So some progress is made at the Justice Ministers meeting there the other day, but I haven't had a chance to study what's been agreed. I think, though, from Ireland's point of view, it wouldn't really be so much about taking a quota of refugees. You know, we've accepted a huge number of people in the last year or two, maybe 100,000 people from Ukraine and other parts of the world. So I think we're in a different place as a country now, really struggling to accommodate the numbers that we have. But certainly what it is about is a number of things, but one of those is more cooperation at European level and also securing the outer borders of the European Union so that we can put more control on irregular entries into the continent, which is important for us too.
So if we don't take a voluntary quota, that would be paying into the funds, is that right?
Yeah, that's an option. So you can have the option of accepting refugees who are in other parts of the European Union. So they're already in a safe place, or you can make a financial contribution. But realistically, where we are in Ireland at the moment is having accepted over 100,000 people from Ukraine and other parts of the world in the past 2 years. I don't think we're really in a position to accept more voluntary transfers, not until we get on top of the accommodation situation. I think people will understand that. That's not to say that we'll turn away people who come to Ireland. Of course we won't do that. But volunteering to take more people is a different thing entirely.
Shisha, this week some figures emerged on what it would cost to let Ukraine into the European Union, including a calculation that under current rules it would mean a 20% cut to can farming aid. Does this put a dampener at all on Ireland's support for Ukraine?
I'm a strong supporter of Ukrainian membership of the European Union, and not just Ukraine, also the Western Balkans and Moldova. And if you look at things in the round, if you take the broader view, the longer term view, enlargement is always good for Europe. It helps to provide us with security, helps to embed democracy and human rights, and also helps the European economy to grow in the round. So I think it's really important that when we look at these questions, we don't see them just as a financial calculation. If Ukraine, Moldova, the Western Balkans join the European Union, they'll become wealthier in due course, just like Ireland. They may yet become contributors to the budget. Certainly when it comes to CAP reform, further enlargement will of course trigger a lot of reforms. What might be necessary is countries making larger contributions so that we can protect the budget for CAP, but that's all way off. I'd be very keen to see Ukraine begin talks on membership this December. That decision isn't made yet, but I hope we can make that decision. But the time from beginning talks to actually becoming a member, it often takes many years, more than 10 or 15 years. So by then the budget and the CAP will be in a very different place, I think. So I really would hope that we don't create those kind of fears.
Just on roads, one thing, Transport Minister in Ryan last year by Transport Minister for Ireland, the announcement was proper investment in roads. You see 77 deaths over the next 5 years. We obviously see a lot of deaths on our roads in recent years. What is your response?
Well, we have a lot of investment in roads. Hundreds of millions of euros go into maintenance and restoration of our local, regional, national roads every year. In addition to that, we sign off on new projects. Only this month, nearly €500 million being invested in road upgrades in the northwest for the N5. It's always the case that any government agency will always say they need more money, and if we don't give them more money, there will be negative consequences. People make their case for more money. And I wouldn't expect anything different. That's the normal course of budgetary negotiations. But I do support more funding for roads, I should be clear on that. But also we need to make sure there's adequate funding for public transport. Some really big, important public transport's about to come through planning, like Bus Connects in Dublin, like Cork Metropolitan Rail. And we have a commitment in the programme for government to make sure that funding for public transport outweighs investment in roads by 2 to 1, and that makes sense to me as well. Yeah, well, look forward to meeting him. It's our second bilateral, although we have spoken on by phone a number of times. Really, a couple of things on the agenda. We'll be interested to hear from him how he feels the discussions between the UK government and the DUP are going with respect to restoring institutions in Northern Ireland. Really important for both of us. And of course, we'll want to discuss the Legacy Act and reaffirming our position on that. And I suppose in a more positive space, we're going to talk about UEFA 2028. Really delighted that UK and Ireland will be hosting that tournament. Want to talk to him about our willingness to make a funding contribution to Casement Park in Belfast, one of the 2 stadiums in Ireland that will be used, the other being the Aviva. And also we're going to talk about the common travel area, because again, that's very important for us, that the common travel area between Britain and Ireland functions, but also that we secure the outer border around Ireland and Britain as well.
Are you concerned about some of the language from the Tory bylaw.
Yeah, I am, to be honest. You know, the Britain and the United Kingdom that I love and admire is the country of the Magna Carta, the country that founded parliamentary democracy, and the country that helped to write the European Convention on Human Rights. And it does bother me to see the United Kingdom disengaging from the world, whether it's reducing its budget for international aid, whether it's leaving the European Union, and now even talking about withdrawing from the European Convention on Human Rights. That's not the Britain I know. We'll certainly discuss the issue of the UK legacy legislation. That's something the Irish government is very opposed to, and so are the victims' groups, and so are the 5 main parties in Northern Ireland. All agree this isn't the right approach, and we believe it is potentially in contravention of the European Convention on Human Rights, and certainly I'll be saying that to the Prime Minister.
Just very quickly on the budget, do people support, do people expect additional energy bills in the form of energy credits?
So the detail of that hasn't been worked out, but look, what I can say is that people will get help with their electricity bills over the course of the winter. The detail of that has to be worked out. Electricity prices have fallen, but they're still substantially higher than they would have been 2 winters ago, and we understand that as a government, and we have the money to help people with those bills, and we will, but the exact detail is yet to be signed off on.
Along earlier acknowledgement, we've heard some concerns from Ireland about possible reforms that are coming in. Enthusiasm from Ukrainian others.
No, you know, the European Union that we have now is designed for, you know, maybe 27, 28 members. The European Union of the future, I believe, is going to have more than 30 members, not just Ukraine, but also Moldova and countries of the Western Balkans. They're European countries. We want to see them within the European fold, within the European family. And of course, that's going to require reforms to the budget, to some of the policies, to the way the institutions work. We've done that before. You know, we did that when the countries of Central and Eastern Europe joined, and it had to be done before when Ireland joined. So, you know, these are the things we just have to deal with to make sure that we get them right. But we've plenty of time. This enlargement is you know, some time away yet. But we have to decide that. We're waiting on detailed legal advice from the Attorney General. We'll have that the next couple of weeks, and at that point I'll sit down with Tánaiste, Minister Ryan and other colleagues, and we'll recommend a decision to government. Thank you.
In danes se že kaže v resnici pomembnost teh srečanj, ker imamo prve zaplete. Če je bilo na prvem srečanju kot na medenih mesecih, se danes prvič soočamo s situacijo, ko lahko vidimo, kako pomemben je dialog. Kdaj se tega zavemo, ko se nekdo umakne. In ravno umik, zelo obžalujem umik tako Turčije kot Azerbajdžana iz današnjega srečanja, ker mislim, da bi ravno tu morali nasloviti te izzive in to na čim širšem možnem nivoju. Tako da upam, da bo to ena dobra lekcija za naslednje 4. srečanje in da takrat bomo vsi in se bomo o širših problemih evropskega kontinenta, ne samo Evropske unije, pogovarjali res v iskrenem in pa odprtem duhu.
Govorili ste v bistvu o tem napetostih v Gorskem Karabahu, danes se boste srečali oziroma govorili z armenskim premijerjem. Pa me zanima, kako bo Slovenija tudi v bistvu kot bodoča članica, zdaj že opazovalka v varnostnem svetu, mogoče posredovala oziroma prispevala k rešitvi teh napetosti oziroma.
Torej prvič prisehamo na dialog in dejansko morajo biti vse vpletene strani enakopravno zastopane v dialogu. Mislim, da je vključitev Turčije v tem primeru pomembna v ta dialog o rešitvi tega vprašanja. Drugič pa na prvem mestu želimo zagotoviti varnost ljudi in to je prva stvar, ki bi si jo morali prizadevati, šele potem pridejo politične rešitve. Vrstni red bi moral biti znan in verjamem, da bomo tudi ne samo kasneje v varnostnem svetu, ampak tudi danes zastopali to stališče.
Še glede Kosova, Srbije je tudi pomemben dialog. Kako bo tukaj Slovenija, kje vidite rešitev po teh zadnjih napetostih? V bistvu se gre kar iz krize v krizo.
Rešitev je vedno enaka, ostaja ponovitev volitev, poziv vsem, tudi srbski manjšini, da na volitvah sodeluje in da se izvoli legitimne oblasti v teh 4 občinah, potem pa da se išče rešitev za avtonomijo. Vendar najprej ponovitev volitev. Vse to, kar se je dogajalo v zadnjih tednih, je pa obsojanja vredno in prav je, da tudi mednarodna skupnost obsodi posameznike, ki so v resnici spodbujali do tega, da prije do eskalacije, v tem primeru tudi oboroženih spopadov. In tudi Slovenija ostro obsoja posameznike, ki so pri tem sodelovali oziroma vodili te procese.
Pa podpira tudi sankcije proti Srbiji oziroma
o tem še nismo razpravljali, bomo videli, kakšna bo danes debata. Mislim, da moramo biti pri tem previdni, konsistentni in ustrajni. Dajmo začeti pri posameznikih, dokler se ne razčisti, dajmo pomiriti, se pravi deeskalirati situacijo in iskati trajno rešitev. Ne verjamem, da sankcije same po sebi lahko pripeljejo k trajni rešitvi. Če bo potrebno in če bo zato obstajalo enotno stališče, se bo Slovenija pridružila. Ni pa nujno, da je to prvi in edini korak.
Gospod premier, še kratek skok na domač politični parket. Zakaj ste se odločili za rekonstrukcijo vlade zdaj in pa kaj sta recimo glavna očitka ministroma?
To ni rekonstrukcija vlade, gre za 2 ministra, ki sta prišla na moj predlog iz Gibanja Svobode. Žal sem ugotovil v zadnjih tednih, da ne uživate več mojega zaupanja, razlogi so različni. Jaz sem oba ministra s tem seznanil in zdaj je predlog za razrešitev oziroma minister Brežan je odstopil, ministrico Šinkovo bomo pa razreševali v parlamentu. Pri ministrici dogajanje v zvezi z uvozom nevarnih živil in predvsem neobveščanjem javnosti in zagovarjanjem stališča, da javnost ni potreba, da ve, da uvažamo nevarna živila. Jaz se s tem ne morem strinjati, mislim, da je tle ogrožanje zdravja na prvem mestu in šele potem ščitenje neke inštitucije. Zato je prav, da ministrica sprejme ne samo subjektivno, ampak objektivno odgovornost v tem primeru. Pri ministru Brežanu bi si pa želel, da bi po poplavah nekoliko boljše organiziral delovanje svojega ministrstva na tem delu, ki se tiče izplačila sredstev občinam. Žal je na tem področju tako drugače postalo ravno njegovo ministrstvo ozko grlo. To ne pomeni, da sanacija ne teče. Sanacija teče nemoteno, lahko bi pa prišlo zdaj do finančnih zamaškov in moramo biti pri tem bolj učinkoviti.
Kako komentirate odločitev kmetijske ministrice, da ne bo odstopila, ampak da bo počakala na razrešitev v parlamentu?
Vsak ima pravico, da se odloča. Meni je včasih nenavadno, kako novinci v politiki kar naenkrat postanejo sami sebi namen, ampak bo parlament o tem kaj več povedal.
Pa še glede ministrice Ajanović-Hovnik, ste jo še podpirate in pa ali ste odjeli vsa pojasnila glede očitkov, ki so v javnosti?
Da, ministrica ima še vedno mojo podporo, verjamem pa tudi, da bo tako pristojnim inštitucijam kot javnosti znala ustrezno pojasniti vse to, kar se ji očita. Jaz si želim, da bi bili ti očitki čim hitreje pojasneni in potem tudi vsi dvomi ovrženi, zato da ker ima ministrica pred sabo res ogromno nalogo in bi si želel, da se ta naloga čim prej izpolni.
Ker ravno omenjate to nalogo, bo še naprej glavno pogajalka sindikata?
Ostaja, je pa res, da je zadnje čase precej zasedena in zato bo mogoče v nekaterih fazah tudi namesto nje vskočil kakšen namestnik ali namestnica, ampak pogajanja se ne ustavljajo, ne glede na trenutne aktivnosti ministrice.
Mogoče še vprašanje glede Ukrajine, sploh v luči dogajanja v ZDA, kjer je pač ta 6 milijardni paket pomoči izpadel iz zakona o financiranju, pa me zanima, vojna traja dlje, kot smo vsi pričakovali. Čutite oziroma se bojite, da bi ta pripravljenost pomagati Ukrajini ali z orožjem ali finančno pač splahnela država zvezdnica?
Dejstvo, da dlje ko bo trajal spopad oziroma vojna, večja bo ta, manjša bo pripravljenost, to je dejstvo, ki ga poznamo od začetka. To ni nekaj novega, zato se tudi tako čaka, kakšen bo razplet pred zimo in čas se izteka. O tem govorimo že ves čas. Dejstvo je, da bomo o Ukrajini govorili jutri na nivoju Evropske unije prav glede finančnega paketa, ki naj bi se potem potrjeval decembra in tukaj bo treba biti enoten. Slovenija bo podpirala vse enotne ukrepe kot do sedaj, se pa kaže pri nekaterih članicah že, bom rekel, soliranje, zagovarjanje lastnih interesov. Jaz upam, da bo prevladal vseeno interes skupnosti, je pa težko prejudicirati, kaj se bo ukazalo.
A vidite, še neposredno pri dogajanju v Ameriki, recimo na...
V tem trenutku še ne, v prihodnem letu pa zagotovo. Če se bo pa pokazalo okno, časovno okno, v katerem bo možno iskati ali premirje, še bolj pa trajen mir, je pa Slovenija že od začetku podprla mirovno formulo predsednika Zelenskega in tudi kot članica Varnostnega sveta bomo zagovarjali, da je treba dati miru priložnost, kadar se le da, vedno in pred orožjem. Tako da mogoče bo pa tudi dogajanje v Združenih državah pripomoglo k temu, da se bo pogovorom za mir dalo več priložnosti.
Bo Slovenija postrajala v tem podpori nadomne tistimi, ki bodo zašle na svoje, recimo, egoistične poti.
Slovenija nikoli ni bila egoistična država v zunanji politiki in tudi tokrat ne razmišljamo o tem, ravno obratno. Kot majhna država se zavedamo, kako pomembna je enotnost mednarodne skupnosti, če želimo, da vsi skupaj živimo v blaginji in miru. In zato bomo to podpirali do konca. Hvala lepa.
Carried out by the orders of the leadership of Serbia.
Do you expect any message from the Spanish government?
I hope so. Spain is a country that is contributing to peace and stability in the entire European continent. I do hope that they will understand that supporting an aggressor, for which there is clear evidence from the 24th of September, is not going to help peace and stability. So I do hope that Spain will join other like-minded countries in Europe to adopt measures towards Serbia for this horrendous act that it has committed, not just against Kosovo, but against peace and stability and security in the entire European continent. We don't have confirmed meetings alone, but I'm sure that I will have the opportunity because in this setting, most of the discussions are taking place while we are all in the same room. So I do hope that we will have that opportunity to discuss this. There's no reason to meet before sanctions are adopted towards Vučić. Sanctions first, and then we can talk about the rest. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
antes de caer rendido por el sueño, justo al amanecer, y escribía con las ventanas abiertas, con la mirada perdida en uno de los barrios más característicos de Granada, que es el Albaicín, la Sierra y la Torre de la Vela de la Alhambra que veremos esta tarde, ¿no? Aquí escribió obras como las de Yerma o Bodas de Sangre, y nacieron de aquellas noches de insomnio en esa casa conocida como la Huerta de San Vicente. ¿Por qué os cuento esto? Porque hace 87 años que este gran poeta, Federico García Lorca, uno de los más grandes de la historia de la literatura de España, fue cruelmente silenciada su voz cuando aún le quedaba una larga vida por delante. Le asesinaron muy joven. Y de todos los futuros posibles que le arrebataron a él y a la generación que él representaba entonces, sin duda el compromiso con una Europa unida y en paz, que no llegó, por desgracia, a ver en vida, es el más plausible de todos. Así lo anticipa su obra. Si tenéis ocasión de poder leer algo de su obra, lo veréis. Es todo un grito de libertad, de concordia, de compromiso con la dignidad de los más vulnerables. Un canto de esperanza contra todo tipo de violencia. Hoy esa violencia golpea de nuevo el corazón de Europa. Cuando creíamos haber desterrado para siempre el espectro de la guerra de nuestro continente, nos enfrentamos a un conflicto brutal en términos de vidas perdidas, de devastación. Un conflicto que amenaza, querido Volodymyr, la estabilidad y la seguridad global, y también tiene un impacto económico que trasciende los límites de nuestro continente, como bien sabemos, y cada vez que tenemos ocasión de poder reunirnos con líderes de otros continentes. En la última cumbre de esta Comunidad Política Europea, celebrada en Moldavia, la presidenta Sandu recordaba que el conflicto en Ucrania se libraba a tan solo 20 kilómetros del lugar en el que nos reuníamos entonces. Hoy no son 20 kilómetros, como bien sabéis, sino 4.000 kilómetros de distancia entre Granada, entre esta ciudad, y la capital de Ucrania, Kiev. Y sin embargo, también hasta aquí han llegado cientos de refugiados y refugiadas que huían de las bombas de Ucrania. A mi juicio, queridos colegas, hay un gran simbolismo en este hecho. Y es que a pesar de la enorme distancia, incluso física, que nos separa, nuestra vocación, querido Volodymyr, de unidad frente a la agresión rusa es aún más firme. Lo es nuestra voluntad de cooperación frente al imperialismo de Putin, lo es nuestra apuesta por el diálogo, por la paz, por la estabilidad y por la seguridad de Europa frente al uso injustificado de la fuerza. Y este foro, esta Comunidad Política Europea, es expresión de un afán compartido, y es colaborar para construir la Europa del futuro, sea cual sea nuestra posición en el continente, seamos o no miembros de la Unión Europea, como también, por diversas razones, otros países que hayan elegido otro camino distinto al de la integración europea. Esa Europa del futuro, yo creo que solo puede levantarse sobre los cimientos de la seguridad, de la estabilidad y de la prosperidad. Y, por tanto, merece la pena reflexionar estratégicamente cómo vamos a hacer sobre cómo consolidarlos, especialmente en un momento crucial como el que estamos viviendo. Nos une, creo que, la común aspiración de abordar en este espacio flexible e informal los grandes desafíos a los que se enfrenta Europa, desafíos que no se detienen ante fronteras ni entienden de arquitecturas supraestatales, porque su impacto recorre nuestro continente de un extremo a otro. Y en esta tercera cumbre vamos a tener ocasión de abordar algunos de estos retos de futuro que en realidad ya condicionan nuestro presente. Los conocéis bien: el impacto de la digitalización sobre nuestras sociedades, particularmente la inteligencia artificial, la soberanía energética del continente y, por supuesto, un orden internacional basado en reglas, y también cómo fortalecer el multilateralismo. En fin, confío, y ya con esto termino, queridos amigos y amigas, en que esta tercera cumbre de la Comunidad Política Europea nos ayude a encontrar respuestas a estos desafíos y que, por encima de todo, lo que haga sea eso, afianzar los sólidos lazos que ya nos unen, lazos atravesados no solo por la geografía, que nos hace compartir este continente, sino también por el peso y las enseñanzas de la historia. Lo vais a ver en esta tarde, en donde tendremos ocasión de visitar el Palacio de la Alhambra, la historia que late con fuerza en el corazón de esta ciudad de Granada, cuyos muros nos hablan sobre todo de convivencia y de encuentro entre distintas culturas, Los árabes vivieron en España, en la península ibérica, pero en particular en España, durante 600 años, más de 600 años. Nos han dejado una herencia que vamos a poder disfrutar en el día de hoy. Bueno, Granada nos habla de eso, de convivencia y de encuentro entre culturas. Síntesis, en definitiva, de la gran epopeya de este rincón del mundo que se llama Europa. Así que muchísimas gracias por el esfuerzo de venir aquí a Granada. Quiero que sepáis que toda España, Andalucía y en particular esta ciudad, pues os acoge con una gran satisfacción y felicidad y un gran orgullo. Y desde luego, si ese orgullo podemos personalizarlo en una persona en la que todos nos vemos reflejados e inspirados, y desde luego la sociedad española lo está, es sin duda alguna el presidente de Ucrania, Volodymyr Zelensky, al que cedo la palabra.
Much, Pedro, dear Mr. Sanchez, Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for your kind words about us, our people, about Ukraine. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Dear colleagues, each of us represents Europe, and we may have our own views and sometimes different opinions on European issues. It's normal, but still, we all are Europe. And it's not just about geography. It's about history, morality, and security that we share. This is the unity that has no right to become weakened, because Europe should not be a ruin. This Tuesday I visited Kharkiv region in eastern Ukraine, and at least 1,200,000 residents there in Kharkiv. And the distance from the city to the border with Russia is less than 40 kilometers, or less than 3 minutes of flight time for an S-300 missile, which the Russian army uses to terrorize Kharkiv each day. And thousands of facilities have already been destroyed by such missiles: houses, schools, universities, churches, power plants, transport. But Kharkiv, wounded by this terror, shattered by missile debris, is alive. And we are doing everything we can to protect people and keep regular social and economic activities. We are keeping all key institutions working, from government agencies to our education system, in particular in Kharkiv. And most children in the city study online until there is a fully effective air defense system. Children cannot attend schools. But Kharkiv has found a solution. 65 school classes with more than 1,000 children are taught not online, but in the usual way, as in schools in any other your countries, but in the subway, under the ground. School classrooms that are provided with everything children need: furniture, equipment, Wi-Fi, but in the subway, under the ground. It's really, it's 2023, and the subway is the only safe option for a city of 1 million people to bring children together for school. This is what the neighborhood with Russia means, but it is not only our neighborhood. Various European countries border the terrorist state, and in fact, Russian propagandists and officials talk about them as the next targets of their aggression. Targets. Exactly, that's the word. Dear leaders, are there enough underground stations in your cities where it would be possible to organize protected schooling for children if Russia's threats become real? And it is preparing to make them real. I will be honest with you, as I always am. Russia is now considering various scenarios for the coming years. One of them is particularly dangerous. If there is some pause in their aggression against Ukraine, any freezing of the situation, there will be a new critical moment. 2028. If Russia is allowed to adapt now, by the 2028, the Kremlin will be able to restore the military potential that we destroyed, and it will have enough strength to attack the countries in focus of Russian expansion. And in addition to Ukraine, These are definitely the Baltic states and definitely other countries where Russian contingents are present. This is clear information from our intelligence, and we are signaling it directly to you. Russia is trying to free the situation to adapt and learning from its mistakes and preparing to move on. Please remember that the most dangerous enemy is the one who really made conclusions and prepared for the next attack based on, especially on these conclusions. Moscow clearly outlined its ambition to capture more imperial space, to prevent Europe from being a place of free nations and working democracies to break European unity. And war is Russia's basic tool for this, a tool to enslave or to manipulate others. Russia tried for decades to keep control over the neighboring nations by starting wars and by freezing wars. Russia has hurt Moldova, tried to crush and divide Georgia, destabilize other parts of the Caucasus, strangles Belarus, and tries to tear pieces from the body of Ukraine. Every nation that Russia is acting against in some way or another, every state that has suffered from Russia interference or invasion. And we all have to stay in a special unity, stay together, in a special cooperation, and in a special relationship with everyone else in the European Union. We all need a format of support for the nations whose lives Russia has already tried to destroy, so that the ruin caused by Russia can never spread anywhere else. All these countries need economic support, it's true, and all these countries need security guarantees, so that Russia will not even be tempted to try to break their sovereignty even again, ever again. And a clear signal is needed. Russia has no chance. And most importantly, what will give our unity the full strength, the aggressor is most effectively neutralized by defeat in war. Right now, and right in Ukraine, we have the opportunity to cause a fundamental defeat to Russia's aggression. Together with you and our partners, we have already done things that seemed impossible to many. Together we have defended Ukraine. Europe is more independent of Russia than ever before. Europe has truly proven that it has the right to be a global center for the protection of human freedom and international law. And despite of what happens in other parts of the world, despite of what political tornadoes our partners experience, Europe must be strong. Now Europe is following the developments in America and the growing political storm. And Europe has its own potential for strength and its global role, which should be as powerful as possible in all key issues that are important for Europe. And as for political storms, I'm confident in America, confident they are strong people, strong society with strong institutions, strong energy of democracy. And I was recently in Washington, talked with President Biden. I talked to congressmen from both parties, both chambers. They fully support the defense of freedom and understand that it is Russia and us, the enemies to our way of life, who want to ride such political storms. So we in Europe have to be ready. America helped us, helped Europe to survive, and now it is important, very important for Europe not to hide sails from the wind, trying to wait out the storm, but to be together in this uncertain time, to work together, to work united and protect our values, our common space of liberty, common with the US. This mutual support, both in calm times and times of security challenges and turbulence, is the real meaning of the transatlantic partnership. Dear colleagues, thanks to Ukraine, your soldiers are not fighting against Russia right now, and we do not doubt NATO's strength. But I'm sure none of you wants to find out what it will be like if, God forbid, NATO has to stand up for one of you. We have to win in Ukraine so that Putin cannot scale this aggression to someone else, and it is realistic. That's why the key things are our unity. The unity and solidarity of all of our Europe must be unwavering. The unity of all 27 EU countries, all the Europe, not only EU. The strength of our common rules and agreements. The firmness of the EU's ability to expand under the founding treaties. And I thank all of you who really work, who truly work for the strength of the Ukraine, for the strength of the EU. Secondly, we must not allow Putin to destabilize any other parts of the world and our partners in order to ruin Europe's power. We must continue to put pressure with sanctions, politically and economically, so that Russia cannot spread chaos. The presence of Russia, its military or proxies on the territory of any other country is a threat or to all of us, I'm sure, and we must work together to push Russia out of the territory of other countries. Thirdly, the capability of Ukrainian soldiers, air defense in our country, especially now, before winter, and the weapons in the hands of our soldiers, missiles, artillery, with which we can destroy the positions of the occupiers and liberate our land and our houses. Every Russian drone shut down in Ukraine, every Russian tank destroyed in Ukraine confirms that this drone, this tank, any other Russian weapon destroyed in Ukraine will not strike anyone else in Europe. And I thank all of you, each and every one of you, your nations, thank you for your defense help. Additional air defense systems for Ukraine, additional artillery and shells, additional long-range missiles and drones for our soldiers, as well as additional formats of support and security guarantees for nations threatened by Russia. All this is a real protection of Europe from further aggressive steps by Russian Federation, and to ensure that in the common future there is no war anywhere in Europe, that no other city in Europe lives through what our Kharkiv, for example, Kharkiv and all the cities and villages of Ukraine are experiencing. Then at this time, right now, this year, next year, and above all in Ukraine, our unity must work to the full capacity. Let only Putin's ambitions be a ruin, not our countries, not our people, not our cities. Children of every country deserve to be secure, and everywhere in the country, not just in the subway, not just in the shelters, underground, but everywhere. We must make it possible, and we'll do it. We must win. Thank you for your attention and for invitation. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you. Thank you, Volodymyr, for your testimony. And now I give the floor to President Michel.
Thank you, dear Prime Minister. Thank you, dear Pedro. First of all, let me thank you for hosting us in such a beautiful location. Thank you for your warm welcome, and I feel that we are all impatient to discover tonight the Alhambra. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, this is already the third meeting of our European Political Community since we launched it 1 year ago in Prague. And I think this shows the relevance of this unique intergovernmental and leaders platform. Unique initiative for boosting cooperation, for increasing what I'm calling our collective intelligence and addressing today's challenges. COVID-19, climate change, energy security, cyber and hybrid threats, and on top of this, Russia's war against Ukraine. These challenges are too large for one nation to tackle alone, and it's why more than ever we must confront them together and take a strategic approach. Dear Vladimir, I would like to start by addressing you personally, and I would like to repeat again, we stand with you and we stand with the Ukrainian people. We are impressed by your courage and by the courage of the people of Ukraine. We are impressed again by your strong words, and we continue to back you with strong military, political and financial support.
The EU has already mobilized 82 billion euros to support your country, and you know that we are preparing an additional substantial package to assist Ukraine, and will also continue to pile the pressure on Russia to end this war. For instance, we strongly support the efforts with the G7 to ban the imports of Russian diamonds starting next year, and we continue to actively work with international partners to prevent the circumvention of sanctions. And we also fully support your efforts, especially with your peace formula, based on the principles of the UN Charter, based on the principles of no impunity, and based on the principles of the territorial integrity. Dear friends, since the start of the war, the Kremlin has threatened many of us with energy blackmail, and it clearly shows the need for more cooperation, for more continental cooperation. In the EU, for instance, we are tripling our renewable capacity and doubling our energy efficiency, and we intend to continue to strengthen our energy sovereignty. We must invest more, we must innovate more, and work together more. And we are all working together, for instance, to boost our energy connectivity. Just two examples. The North Sea Energy Cooperation will harness the power of offshore wind, and the Trans-Balkan Electricity Corridor will help to integrate renewable energy sources. Migration. Migration is a difficult global challenge. It's a challenge we must all face together, and it means building more cooperation between us, in the EU, in Europe, and more cooperation with third countries. And I welcome the proposal of British Prime Minister Sunak to work more closely together on this important topic. And just yesterday, the EU member states took an important step forward on the Migration Pact, but will also continue to engage with countries of origin and transit to build comprehensive partnership and address the root causes of migration. Because one thing is clear, we must break the business model of smugglers. They cannot be the ones deciding who comes to the EU. We need to dismantle their criminal networks, and this will require a more intergovernmental approach in the field of policing and justice. And we should also look at the opportunities for legal migration on the one hand, but on the other hand, we need to work for more effective returns. Ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely believe this political community platform can play and should play an important role in diffusing conflicts and in helping to resolve them, notably in the South Caucasus and between Serbia and Kosovo. Because conflicts are not only a problem for those directly involved, they are a problem for the region and for our continent. And we should use this unique platform to build more confidence among us, more confidence, more peace, more stability, more predictability. The world is watching our European continent, and some hope we will fail, but many others hope we will succeed. Our citizens want us to lead and to be a force for change in improving their daily life, and it is our responsibility as leaders to show that we can work together to ensure peace, security, and to improve well-being, and to bring the four corners of our continent closer together. And I think that this political community is a vision for the future. It's a vision for a Europe that's united, that's peaceful, stable, and prosperous. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. And now I give the floor to the President of the Commission, Ursula.
Thank you very much. Dear friends and colleagues, first of all, I would like to thank our host, Prime Minister Sanchez de Pedro, for convening us here, this EPC summit. Behind the European political community is an idea. The idea that the European community can and must shape its own future. We're bound by a common geography and by common history, and this fact has shaped our shared values and rules. For decades, we Europeans have built a security architecture that is based on the UN Charter and international law. Now, this security architecture is under threat. A permanent member of the UN Security Council has launched an attack on its peaceful neighbor, and this attack goes on since 588 days. It is our obligation that Ukraine prevails and not the right of might. It is our obligation that the European security architecture is re-established so that on this continent all Europeans can live in peace and freedom. And this must guide us here in EPC. These principles are also shaping this agenda. Take energy. This is my second point. We have worked hard to ensure our energy security and to make energy affordable for our European households. And we can be proud how we mastered the severe energy crisis of last winter. For instance, we are now buying energy together, not only with 27 EU member states, but with our broader energy community, together with Ukraine, Moldova, Norway, and Serbia, and the UK is anyhow integrated in the energy exchange. This has brought energy prices down. Today, our storages are filled. We got rid of the dependency on Russian fossil fuels, as you said it rightly so, Volodymyr. And thanks to this, we have turned Putin's energy blackmail into an empty threat. So I encourage all of us to look at how we can best replicate this success in other fields, from clean energy to raw materials. And as we protect people, we have also to strive to protect our planet. For the first time ever, the European Union is now producing more electricity from renewables, like wind and sun, than from gas. And this is not only good for our planet, but it is also creating good jobs here in Europe while securing energy independence. And my third and final point, Europe has always been a continent of pioneers and innovators. And we should continue to explore the frontiers of innovation, also in artificial intelligence. The potential of artificial intelligence is immense in fields ranging from healthcare to farming and many others. But we also need to protect Europeans from the risks of unregulated AI. The European Union has put forward the world's first comprehensive and pro-innovation AI Act. It is a human-centric approach. It will take some time to implement it. So now we need a globally coordinated response and dialogue with companies so that they voluntarily commit to a values-based and ethical use of AI. Let us join forces here too in pushing for global governance of artificial intelligence. All the challenges we face, from collective security to AI, call for a common European answer. And this is the spirit of the European political community. Let us continue to make the most out of it. Let us continue to believe that we are more than a continent. We are a community of destiny. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gracias. Muchas gracias a todos y a todas. Y ahora vamos a seguir las reuniones en los clústeres que tenemos y daría por levantada la sesión inaugural de esta tercera cumbre de la Comunidad Política Europea. Gracias.
Europe.